Here's a short video on writing equations in what we call point-slope form. What we've dealt with so far is we've dealt with a lot of slope-intercept, which was y equals mx plus b, where I need to know two pieces of information. I need to know the slope and the intercept, and that's why it was called slope-intercept form. Well, now we're going to do a little bit with point-slope form. And what you need to write an equation in point-slope form is a point and the slope of the line. Well, here we're given the slope of the line and a point on that line. And here's what the equation looks like. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1 close parentheses. So really all you have to do is I know that my m goes in for the m right there. So if I just keep everything else, I substitute negative 6m for m. And now I know that I have a point, or in other words, an x1 and a y1. So if I substitute my y1 in for the y1 in the equation, y minus a negative 1 equals negative 6 x minus 7. I can then simplify this because I know that subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. And that's how you write an equation in point-slope form. Now, let's move on to a different scenario where we're given an equation. I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see both. Where I'm given an equation in point-slope form, and I want to find the slope, and I want to find a point that it passes through. Okay? Well, I can tell if I look at this line that the m is the number next to the parentheses right there, so I know that my slope is negative 2. And I look, and I remember that my equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, I know that if it's x minus 5, that's the same thing as x minus x1. So my x-coordinate, or a point where this passes through, is 5. I can then look over here, and this is kind of tricky because my equation says y minus y1, but this says y plus 3. Well, here's what we do here. I know that adding is the same thing as subtracting a negative. So if I rewrote y plus 3 as y minus a negative 3, I can tell that my y1 is now a negative 3. So that's just basically how I can use point-slope form to find out some information about my line. We need to make sure that we're fluent in going from, this information to point-slope form to slope-intercept form back to this information. We need to make sure that they all mesh and we know how to get from one representation to the other.